Well, let's move ahead without waiting too much. So we had conducted one session just in the morning, so you have got bit fair amount of idea that what we had started. We were there into the cost of equity. So we had seen the four methods. One was a CAPM method, can also be called as the capital asset pricing model. Then we had seen dividend yield model, can also be called as the dividend growth model. Then we had seen long term bond yield model or method, which is a bye of CAPM, a twin brother of CAPM, just a minor difference. And the last one was the EPS method, earnings approach. Now, these are the four ways to find the cost of equities. We were there into the capital asset pricing model. We had seen few examples as well. I guess you people had found the K as per dividend yield model last time. So what was the final answer? If you can just let me know. What was the question? Right. So here we had stopped actually. That was a point we had stopped. So what was the final answer coming over there? May I have a conversation, please? You may communicate the final answer through the chat box. Let's see how many have done it. कौन है हमारे क्लास की मणिकर्णिका? कौन है हमारे क्लास का बाजीराव सिंघम जिसने ये किया है? कौन बताएगा? सर हमने तो किया ही नहीं है, मालूम है ना, आलसी लोग है सब, आलसी एलाइट लेवल आलसी लोग है सब. Okay, let's move ahead. So this was basically the figures we wanted as per the dividend yield model, and I'm keeping this up to you. You may solve it because that doesn't require much inputs from my side. Now you'll have to just solve it mathematically. Well, let's go to one more question. Now here you people had a query, and one person, I guess Jay, asked me, sir, we want to learn it practically. Okay, so what I've done is here I have taken monthly prices of Reliance and Nifty. Those who are not aware of Nifty, it is basically one index representing top 50 companies of NSE, National Stock Exchange, those companies who have listed themselves at National Stock Exchange, where the shares are traded, you know. So top 50 companies in terms of market capitalization are forming a part of Nifty, and one index is prepared based on those companies. Now, we are taking Nifty as the market return. We are assuming that Nifty is considered to be entire market. And we have got the prices of Reliance too. So at the end of 1st Jan 2021, the share price of Reliance Industries was 1841. Nifty was 13634. Similarly, at the end of every month, we have got some prices for Reliance and Nifty. Now, how do we calculate the expected rate of return from Reliance based on this? Now, let me just put, we will be assuming that the risk-free rate is 7%. Now, you will not be doing it. This is just for your practical exposure. Now, practical questions will also not be there related to this. In all the questions of cost of finance and everywhere, you will get the beta given to you. But there shouldn't be any sacrifice in the learning, you know, we should learn it, even though it is not forming a part of the examination. Okay, so how do we find the return from Reliance and Nifty? Returns can be found by using one very simple formula. Here in this case, the returns will be the return from the increment in market price. We are ignoring any dividends. If we have received any dividends during those periods, we are right now ignoring that just for the sake of simplicity in the calculation. So return can be found by using very simple formula: new price minus old price divided by old price, as simple as that. So you had got some new price, you had got some old price. Divided by old price, you get the return for that particular month. So we'll be finding the return for Nifty as well as Reliance for all these months. Control X. I'm just taking it over here. Here I'm finding the return of Reliance. You will just see it just for your practical exposure. So, sir, for the January 2021, we do not have the older price, right? So we'll start it from the second month. So equal to new is 2085 minus old is 1841, closing the bracket, divided by the old one, which was 1841. Right? So pressing enter, and we people are aware about the relative referencing as well, right? We people have learned it in the IT, and in some of the sessions we have conducted for the advanced Excel as well, that there is something called relative referencing. So you may just copy and paste it down to other cells. So it will keep on it will keep on changing its range automatically, like this. So let me just convert this returns into percentages. Now going to the home tab and pressing the sign of percentage here. So these are the percentage of return we have got in various months. Similarly, let's do it for Nifty as well. So we have got, I'm just copying and pasting it down over here. This is just for your knowledge purpose, please. This will not be asked in the examination. I'm reiterating that. But how to find that beta? And some people ask me that we want to do it practically. That's why I'm doing it. Okay. Now, once we find the returns of Nifty as well as the Reliance, then we want to know that how the returns of Reliance are sensitive to the Nifty. Then this can be found by using various ways. In the least square regression, you people are aware about a formula. If the regression has already happened in your class, in the statistics, if it is not, then you may use the formula of sigma x minus x bar, y minus y bar, divided by sigma x minus y bar square. This is the formula you will use. X will be taken as Nifty and y will be taken as Reliance. Now y is basically dependent variable. So Reliance is dependent on entire Nifty. Entire Nifty is independently moving. That's what we are assuming. Market is independently moving. So here we have got the Reliance. So by doing, some statistical table over there, and you use this formula, you get some answer. But sir, we people are the Excel people, और Excel बना ही किनके लिए होगा? आलसी लोगों के लिए बना है ये Excel. So there is one function called slope in Excel, which will give you the regression coefficient without doing any technical calculations. So finance people calls it a beta, statisticians calls it regression coefficient, Excel people calls it slope, even mathematicians calls it a slope. तुम विराट कोहली कहो कि चीकू कहो, दोनों एक ही है. SLOPE, opening the bracket, then known y's. So what are the returns we have got in the y? Y is basically the dependent variable. Dependent means Reliance, which is dependent of the movement of entire market. So Reliance will be taken as the dependent variable. So all the y's I'm selecting right from the first to the last one, pressing comma to go to the next parameter. And my friend, the next parameter is all the returns of X. X stands for the Nifty. So right from the first to the last one, we find it, closing the bracket, pressing the enter, we have got, oh, sir, it's in percentage. Let me convert that into number. Okay, we have got 1.72. So now this 1.72 is basically the beta of Reliance. How do you interpret this? That if the market is moving 1%, then Reliance will move 1.72%. So You must have seen that Reliance is more sensitive as compared to the market in last 6 months. So if you take the month of February, at that time, entire market's return was 6.56, Reliance return was 13.23. So almost double, right? Even more than double. Then market was up by 1, but at that time, Reliance was down by 3 percentages. Similarly, when market was up like 6.50 percentage, Reliance was up by 8.31. So it's quite an established fact that Reliance is more sensitive to the market when it comes to the returns. Based on the previous 6 months, you may find the data for previous 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever the case it may be. Now that is entirely up to you. So being a financial analyst, it will be a freedom given to you to select the appropriate period. Now, why I like this subject a lot, the primary reason behind it is, first of all, it is calculative in nature. It also involves some theoretical understanding. It gives us the freedom as well. Like you take some of the subjects like accounting, where you do not have too much of freedom, you have the specified standard rules and regulations. Accordingly, you will have to do the accounting in the same format. But here in this, your purpose and objective should be satisfied. So whatever the format you do, whatever the period you take, it gives you a lot of liberty in terms of taking the variables. Well, so we have got 1.72 as the beta, and here we have got the monthly return. Please put it in the back of your mind. So whatever the return will get, will be a monthly in nature. So let's apply the formula. You can also use data analysis tool pack, and regression analysis can be performed on this. Let me use that too, so people will be crystal clear about it. Magnifier use karta hu, so you will get it. You are just looking at it right now, just for the practical exposure. There is in the data analysis, you have got one data analysis tool pack. So in case you want to explore it further, you may do it. In data analysis, you will get one regression. Some people will be like, sir, हम कितनी मगजमारी मेहनत करते हैं रिग्रेशन के लिए, और आप इधर सिंपल बैठे बैठे इधर एक्सेल में कर देते हो. इसीलिए तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि ये बना ही आलसी लोगों के लिए है. So let's go to the regression there. Then pressing OK. So you get such tab. So here you'll just be pressing known Ys, so I'm clicking over here, and Ys will be my return of Reliance. So selecting all those returns, enter. Then it gives me the X range. So what will be the known X's? That will be the returns of Nifty. Selecting that. Now rest everything will remain same. Just pressing OK. Don't do anything now. Just press OK. In the next worksheet, you will get this kind of table. And here you have got a coefficient. Please check it. In the regression analysis, 1.7169. So that is the regression coefficient. That was also given by the slope function, no? So sir, if slope function is giving the same result, then why we are doing it? But this is just for your knowledge and understanding purpose. Let's go to the KE, 1.72. Some people will be like, sir, wahan pe to 1.71 tha. How do you get 1.72? Because it is the rounded off figure, beta. Let me increase the decimals of it. So see, it is 1.7169. So same answer we had got over there too. 1.7169. ओके सर, अब काम की बात करते हैं. बहुत आपने बाहर दूर का नॉलेज दे दिया, अब पक चुके हैं हम. अब आप बताइए करना क्या है. So now you can find the, just a second. Now you can find the expected return from Reliance from this data, no, by using the CAPM model. So RF plus beta in bracket RM minus RF. So sir, what will be the RF? So RF, I told you that risk-free rate is 7% in this case, right? So I'm taking 7%, 0.07. And one more thing that See, 7% might be given to you on a yearly basis. So you may have to convert it on a monthly basis, So let me just convert that into a monthly. And let's assume that the monthly expected rate, risk-free rate, is just a 1%. So I'm instead of 0.07, I'm writing 0.01. Please make one small correction. And I have just taken the hypothetical example, that's why. Plus, we have got the beta. Beta is how much? Sir, that is 1.71694. In bracket, the return from market. The return from market may be taken as the average return from market till now. See, what do you expect from a market? What is given to you by a market in the historical data may be expected in the future as well. In a finance, we have one rule called history repeat itself. So in the stock market prices as well, the movements we see, if you take the data to analyze, the history repeat itself. Various technical indicators and statistical tools are based on this fundamental principle called history repeats itself. Well, let's go to the average return we have got from Reliance as well as the Nifty. So I'm finding the average of it. So average of Nifty as well I have got. That is 2.744% from the data that is given to us. An average of Reliance as well I'm finding. So that is 3.811%. So you can see that average return of Reliance is anyway bigger than the Nifty. So average return of last 6 months may be expected in the future as well. So market return would be 2.744. Let me write it in decimal, sorry. 0.02744 minus risk-free rate will again be 0.01. So now if you solve this, you will get some return and you multiply that with 100, so that will be in a percentage form. So 0.01 plus 1.71694. लैपटॉप इज हाई ऑन द गांजा, अपने हिसाब से चीजें उड़ा देता है. देखो मैंने लिखा था तो उसने रिमूव कर दिया. 0.01 plus 1.71694 in bracket equal to 0.02744 minus 0.01. So sir, we get 0.01744. So multiply that with the beta and add it in 0.01. So that will be the expected return from Reliance on a monthly basis. Right now we are into a monthly calculations because the prices we had taken and the returns we had taken were on monthly basis. So may I have a confirmation that you are crystal clear with this beta now? Beta calculations will not be asked in the examination as far as the FM is concerned, but you should be aware about it. It's the least square regression coefficient. You will be learning that in your statistics if you haven't learned it yet. Confirmation through the chat box, please, that now CAPM is crystal clear to everyone. Received it from Mr. Mohit, Ms. Devanshi, Ms. Urja, Mr. Dhaval, Ms. Bansi. Good. Really nice. Nice to see that. If you are stuck anywhere, please let me know. Okay, my friends, now I'm going to the KD, which is the cost of debt. You will be writing this in your book. Now, when it comes to a debt, that means loans and borrowings we take. Think it from the perspective of the company. What can be the cost for a company if they take loans and borrowings? May I have the interaction, please? अगर तुम लोन्स और बोरोइंग्स लेते हो तो तुम्हारे लिए कॉस्ट क्या है? व्हाट इज योर कॉस्ट इफ यू टेक लोन्स? Will anyone say something? Very true. As Miss Urja has stated, it's the interest to be paid, right? So, sir, interest is something which is the cost. So, there are two types of loans and borrowings you take, you know. One is basically a term loan where there is a fixed percentage of interest. And then there may be a debentures as well. So one is loan, another one is debentures. So the calculation of loan will be very simple. Here in this case, one more thing you will have to put into an account is, friends, this debt involves a tax benefit. You get the tax benefit on the debt. We had discussed this point very extensively when we were talking about advantages, disadvantages of debt finance. On interest, you get the deduction of expense as per the Income Tax Act. That's why your profits will be less. And if your profits will be less, you pay the less tax on it. So there will be a KD before tax and KD after tax. Now this before tax and after tax will be applicable only in case of the cost of debt. It will not be applicable in cost of equity, cost of preferences, or any other finance. When the money is paid to outsiders and interest or some other expenses are charged, then only you can call it as an expense. Dividend cannot be called as an expense. So whatever the KE we got, no cost of equity, was already after tax or before tax, whatever the case it may be. But here there will be differentiation before tax and after tax. So KD before tax, right now I'm talking for loan. You may write it along with me, will be the interest rate. Interest rate, as simple as that. And KD after tax will be interest rate in percentage multiplied by 1 minus tax rate. So that is basically the effective cost of debt of yours. You remove the savings you are making in the taxation by using this formula. So you get the KD after tax. Let me take the example. So say you take the loan of 10 percentage and interest is 30, tax is 30 percentage. You take the loan at 10 percentage and tax rate applicable to your company is 30 percentage. So KD before tax will be straight away 10 percentage. KD after tax in when it comes to a loan will be interest multiplied by 1 minus tax rate. So I'm just writing 0.10 for the better calculations. You write it in decimal. It is always advisable to write the percentage in decimal during the calculations. So when you get the final answers, no, at that time, you may convert that into a percentage. So 0.10 multiplied by 1 minus tax rate. So what is the tax rate? 0.30. So 0.10 multiplied by 0.7. So you get 0.07. So that is KD after tax. I hope everyone has got this. So please write it as a question that if the interest is 10 percentage and tax rate is 30 percentage, what is KD before tax and KD after tax? Please do it. I'm giving you 1 minute uninterrupted. Shall I move it, guys? May I have a confirmation from the students? All of you. Miss Nandini had also given me the answer of interest. Nice to see that. चलो मैं आगे बढ़ूं कि ना बढ़ूं? अरे ओ भाई लोग बताइए, सांप सूंघ गया क्या? ओके, चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं। कुछ कुछ लोग ऐसे सोए हुए हैं। आप कुछ भी बोलो सर, हम तो सोए ही रहेंगे, तो उसमें तेरा घाटा, मेरा कुछ नहीं जाता, फिर बड़ा पछताओगे, बड़ा पछताओगे। Okay, so we have got now the debentures. So sir, what is this debentures? Now in debentures, there may be a different values, and accordingly, the cost of debt would be different. There is a possibility that you may issue the debenture at discount or premium. Say the face value of debenture is 100. Then company may issue this debenture at a premium of 10%. That means they will be charging 10% over and above its face value. They may issue the debentures at the discount too. Say they give the 5% discount on face value. So they are issuing it at 95 rupees. So there are various values, that is a one point. Number 2 point, which is specifically applicable to debenture, is that it may be redeemed at a premium or discount again. So once the specific maturity life of this debenture will be over, say 10 years, then after 10 years, say you are redeeming these debentures, that means the company is purchasing back these debentures at 30% premium. So that means the face value was 100 and you pay the premium of 30%. So they will be redeemed at 130 rupees. So it is not just about the interest rate on debenture, which is a cost for a company. There may be some other costs as well for the company. Try to understand that. That's what the point I'm trying to make out. It's not just the interest rate, which is a cost for the company. Yes, debentures carries a specific interest rate, understood. But over and above, company incurs some other expenses too. Okay, now how do we calculate it? Try to understand it very logically, conceptually. I do not want to ratify all these formulas, ऐसा पोपट की तरह ऐसे नहीं करना है, हमें पूरा मस्त कॉन्सेप्चुअली समझना है। सर, एक तो आपने इंटरेस्ट पर डिबेंचर होता है, वो आपका कॉस्ट है कंपनी का, एंड द डिफरेंस बिटवीन इन द money you have received, the money you have received can also be called as the sell value, and the money you will be paying at the time of maturity can also be called as the maturity value. So say you receive money just 90 rupees and at maturity you will pay them 120 rupees on one debenture. So this 30 rupees you are incurring over and above the interest, but this 30 rupees is for the entire life of debenture, say 10 years. So what shall be the per year cost of this difference, 90 and 120? So the per year difference will be 30 divided by 10, right? So that will be 3. So over and above the interest you pay on one debenture, you will add 3 to get the cost. Now that is the conceptual. And some people will be like, sir, आप तो बहुत complicated करते हैं, सीधा formula बता दीजिए। तो चलो सीधा formula जाते हैं. Now you all will be singing a song along with me to remember this formula. Now first I am taking the KD after tax. Please put it in the back of your minds. SV stands for the sell value. I am going to clarify this in some time to come. Please write the formula. First of all, KD after tax I am writing equal to I in bracket 1 minus tax rate, because it is after tax, plus MV minus SV. MV will be a maturity value minus SV will be the money you have received right now, sell value, divided by N. And the whole is divided by the average of MV and SV. So MV plus SV divided by 2. And whatever the answer you get in the end will be multiplied by 100. So you get KD after tax. Now, my friend, KD before tax will be the same formula, just 1 minus tax rate will be removed. So I plus I stands for the interest per debenture in this case. I am writing this plus MV minus SV divided by N to be divided by MV plus SV divided by 2. So it is basically the average we have taken here in the denominator, the average of whatever the money you have received and whatever the money you will be making the payment. Take the average of it in the denominator. So that's before tax. Right? This is the case where the debentures are redeemable. So this is the case where debentures are redeemable. That means they will be redeemed after specific period of time, say 10 years, 5 years, 10 years. Now N stands for the number of years. I'm denoting that everywhere. But when it comes to the irredeemable debentures, sir, that means they will remain for the lifetime of the company. Now, how do we measure the lifetime of a company? It's a perpetual in nature. No one knows that when the company will get shut down. So it's perpetual in nature. So my friend, when it is perpetual in nature, again, the calculations becomes very simple. One is before tax, another one is after tax. These are those debentures which will remain for the lifetime. They will never be redeemed. They will never get matured. So you do not have any maturity value. So in that case, you just have the sell value, which is the money you have received right now. So you will write I, that is the interest per debenture, divided by the sell value. And when it will be after tax, you will put I in bracket 1 minus tax rate divided by the sell value. So when it is the irredeemable debentures, follow this. I hope you people are writing it. I have one formula chart as well for this. I'm going to circulate that today only. But still, if you write it, it will be better for you. It's a proven scientific fact, that if you write it, the retention increases by many folds. Redeemable, the same formula. KD before tax and after tax. Please look at it. In case you are yet to write it, I am giving you some minutes uninterrupted. Now I'm writing whatever these letters are denoting. I stands for the interest amount per debenture. Then N stands for the number of years in maturity. Then MV stands for the maturity value. SV stands for the sell value. Well, all the words are there. Now some people would be like, sir, give us the formula of the MV and SV as well. Let's find this MV and SV values now. So maturity value equal to face value plus premium, or they may be redeemed at the discount as well. If it is a premium, it should be added. If it is discount, it should be deducted. So reduce this, you get MV. Now let's come to this SV calculation. So you have got first one is the face value. Then my friends, if the debentures are issued at a premium, then you add a premium on it. And if they are issued at a discount, then you reduce the discount from it. So you get the issue price. Now sir, हमारी अधूरी कहानी यहाँ पे तो कहानी स्टॉप नहीं होती, आगे जाती है. सर कैसे आगे जाती है? क्योंकि when these debentures are issued, they also involve some flotation cost. This is not the sell value you get. This is not the exact money you get. Issue price is not the money you get. Over and above, some expenses are incurred. Say you will go to the investment banker, a company will go to an investment banker for the valuation of the debentures, that at what price this debenture should be issued. So there will be some fees of investment banker. They will come up with one issue in the market. They will take the permission of the SEBI. They will take the permission of registrar of the companies. They will take the permission of their existing lenders, banks and financial institutions. They will involve themselves into a lot of cumbersome process, huge process, which involves a cost, so that cost which is associated with the distribution of debentures to the public at large, that cost is called as the flotation cost. Now flotation cost is always on the issue price. So flotation cost will always be reduced because that money you are not receiving. No, you will have to incur this as a company. So you get the sell value. So we have derived all the formulas logically. Now you may refer the formula chart. अपन को सीधा फॉर्मूला चार्ट देने में मजा ही नहीं आता. बच्चों को मालूम होना चाहिए एक एक चीज कॉन्सेप्चुअली. Okay. Is it clear? May I have a confirmation? Should I wait for you guys for some time? You people are writing. If you are writing, let me know. I'll be waiting for 1 minute more. Confirmation, please. Received it from Miss Nandini. Some people are hyperactive and some people are hyperpassive. Those who are hyperpassive, they are thinking they are smart, but only they think. No one else is thinking that they are smart. बड़ा पैसिव नहीं रहना है, एक्टिवली बातें करनी है, मजे करने हैं क्लासेस में, मतलब फैकल्टी से बातें करनी है. Some people are like, "ए एली जो तारी सारे बात करवी तुम्हारा यहाँ." How many else have done it? Mr. Jossam has done it. Good. Mr. Mohit too, Urja, Nandini, Jigar as well. Good, really nice. So KD after tax formula, you people, let me just clarify this again. If the debentures are irredeemable, that means they are never going to be redeemed. So in that case, maturity value will not be there. So I divided by the sell value. And if it is after tax, I multiplied by 1 minus T. T stands for the tax rate, divided by SV. So you get the cost of debt. Then if it is a redeemable debentures, then after tax and before tax, both will be there, right? So I in bracket 1 minus tax rate plus MV minus XV, which is basically the difference between the maturity value and the sell value. But this cost is for all the number of years. We are right now into a per annum calculation. So we divide that by n number of years in maturity. And that whole will be divided by the average of MV and SV. And if it is loan, then it's a very simple. Straight away, I, interest rate will be your KD before tax. And you want to find the KD after tax, it will be interest rate multiplied by 1 minus tax rate in case of loan. So that is entirely a KD in front of you. So everyone, let's sing a song along with me to remember the formula of KD after tax. I in bracket 1 minus tax rate plus MV minus SV divided by N. Remember that in the back of your mind. The whole is, the whole is divided by the average of MVSV. The whole is divided by the average of MVSV. You may sing along with me. I in bracket 1 minus tax rate plus MV minus SV divided by N. Remember that in the back of your mind. The whole is. अरे भैया whole. बाबा शोर नहीं शोर. वैसे ही the whole is divided by the average of MVSV. So you get the KD after tax when it comes to redeemable debentures. क्योंकि irredeemable और loan ये दोनों का तो simple ही है. It's 11:40. Shall I take the question of KD now? At what time you will have? I guess at 11:50 you will have a session. So in just 5 minutes I'll not be able to complete it. So anyway, we'll do it in the next session. Fine. So we'll take the examples of the KD in the next session, and then we'll move to some other sources of finance and their cost. So I hope everyone is crystal clear with that. Thank you, Mr. Ilan Manthan, for your appreciation. Remember that song, and you will be back with that song in the next session. Please put your enrollment number as a mark of your attendance for today. That's it from my side. Bye-bye. Take care. Sayonara. See you all in the next session.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Miss Devanshi.
So what will be the syllabus for mid-sem 2?
True. Mid-sem 2 will be all the sources of finance, then cost of finance, then weighted average cost of finance as well. We are going to complete in these 2 sessions, and the leverage will be there. So basically, whatever we have done till now, just before the day of examination, whatever is there, that everything may be asked in the examination. And do not forget the first module and the time value of money both. So the syllabus of the first mid-sem remains the same as it is. Along with that, whatever we have done newly in the second module, till the time we take the examination, उससे पहले जितना भी हुआ है वो सब examination में आ सकता है. Is it clear? So अभी जो कर रहे हैं ना उसका मटेरियल मैं अभी शेयर कर रहा हूँ आपको. ये कॉस्ट ऑफ इक्विटी तो आपके पास है पीपीटी में. केडी का जो एक मेरे पास चार्ट पड़ा हुआ है फॉर्मूला का, वो सेंड कर देता हूँ अभी. ठीक है? Okay, all the best for the examination. See you all in the next session.
Sorry, sir.
Yes, Urja.
સર આ જી કોસ્ટ ઓફ ડિબેન્ચર છે આપણે હમણાં કર્યું એની અંદર આપણે એન્યુઇટી ને ડિસ્કાઉન્ટિંગ ફેક્ટર કન્સિડર નથી કરવાના ને?
નહીં, નથી કરવાના અત્યારે સીધો આ જ કોસ્ટ ને લઈએ છે. હવે there are few experts who take sometimes 0.6 weight to MV and SV and 0.4 weight to FV just to take this discounting into account approximation basis pe. So we'll not be doing that. We'll be taking these formulas only.
Okay, sir. Thank you.